according to St. Mark, the 9th chapter. 6 days later, Jesus took with him Peter and James and John and led them up a high mountain apart by themselves. And Jesus was transfigured before them, and his clothes became dazzling white, such as no one on earth could bleach them. And there appeared to them Elijah with Moses, who were talking with Jesus. Then Peter said to Jesus, "Rabbi, it is good for us to be here. Let us make 3 dwellings, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." He did not know what to say, for they were terrified. Then a cloud overshadowed them, and from the cloud there came a voice, "This is my Son, the Beloved. Listen to him." Suddenly, when the disciples looked around, they saw no one with them anymore, but only Jesus. As they were coming down the mountain, Jesus ordered them not to tell anyone about what they had seen until after the Son of Man had been raised from the dead. This is the gospel of Jesus Christ. Thanks be to God. Please be seated. Several years ago, I stumbled across something from my past. A bit of a walk down memory lane. I found it on a glorious time-killing website known as Hulu. For those of you who are unfamiliar with this website, it's a site that allows you to watch television on your own schedule. And as I may or may not have mentioned previously, I don't actually have cable TV. I don't have television. So this is the way that I keep up with some things that are going on. And I catch an episode here and there so as not to be completely vapid when particularly youth are talking about shows that are worth watching. So I was browsing Hulu, lamenting the lack of anything worth watching, and I stumbled across, of all things, She-Ra, Princess of Power. Anyone remember this cartoon? Yes. Oh, certainly there's got to be some other. Okay, thank you. There's a couple others admitting to it. Thank you. She-Ra is the long-lost twin sister, of course, of He-Man. And that day, when I found it, I watched 4 episodes in a row. And the first 4 episodes of the show. The plot line doesn't really matter here on Sunday morning. What struck me enough to bring it to mind this week is that each and every episode, children watch as the strong Princess Adora raises her sword, declares that she has the power, and is transformed into a white-clad, armored, stronger, and somehow truer version of herself, now called She-Ra, complete with, of course, some fantastic high-heeled boots. Her valiant steed is transformed into a flying unicorn with rainbow wings, and together She-Ra and Swiftwind can do just about anything. There's something powerful about this concept of transfiguration. This idea that inside each of us, past the exterior that everyone sees, is a strong, powerful, important someone that just needs the right trigger to come out. Shows like He-Man and She-Ra play to this idea when they show the hero and the heroine transform each week into these literally shining paradigms of goodness, strength, and mercy. But together we are gathered in a sanctuary, not a living room. We sit before an altar, not a television set. It is Sunday morning, not Saturday. So why are we hearing another story of a person being transformed and glowing in white garments? This week, we stand together on the verge of Lent. Wednesday night, we will gather, and we will place ashes on our foreheads and remember that we are dust, and to the dust we shall return. We will remember our mortality. But each year, the Sunday before Ash Wednesday, we hear the story of Christ's transfiguration. The question is, why? Jesus travels up onto the mountain and he prays. And while he is praying, his face and his clothes change, according to our gospel writer. And suddenly, he is not alone. Moses and Elijah, two of the greatest figures of Christ's faith, stand with him and talk with him of his coming exodus. Other gospels tell us that they are talking with him about the events that we will recognize at the end of Lent as we gather during Holy Week. His entrance to Jerusalem, his betrayal, his arrest, his death. And the disciples in that moment want to stay exactly where they are. And can you really blame them? If the transfiguration of Christ is 1/100th as cool as Shira's transformation, wouldn't you want to stay there too? To see the true spirit of a person as good and holy as Jesus revealed to you, wouldn't you want to stay there where there are no questions and there are no doubts? Isn't it easier to follow someone when you can easily see their strength? But you see, here's where our sacred story contradicts with our Saturday morning stories. We expect our heroes and heroines to transform into powerful leaders capable of bashing down walls and breaking through barriers. We expect our leaders to shine with undeniable light that glitters around them, quite literally, and leaves their enemies quaking in their not-so-high-heeled boots. And those present with Jesus got to see that he could do those things, and more than we can even comprehend. But God knew that this was not the kind of leader that we as human beings truly need. And the disciples are commanded to listen. And the shining, glittering moment ends with a command to silence. Jesus and the disciples return from the mountaintop down to the valley. And Jesus doesn't bear himself out among the people as the shining, white-clad hero. He bears himself out as the rabbi, the healer, the foreteller of his own doom. And somehow this Jesus is not as easy to listen to as the Jesus on that mountaintop. He has the power within him, which is made clear in that moment, to overthrow, overturn, and overpower anything in his way. Jesus is more powerful than any cartoon hero could ever be. But here's the point. Jesus chooses not to use it. And in that choice, he becomes our Savior. So what next? For Shira and her friends, it is battles and vanquishing foes and villains. For Jesus, it is a lonely time of temptation in a desert. For us, it is ashes and a reminder of our own mortality. For Christ, it will be a triumphal entry, a heartbreaking betrayal, a quiet stand in front of a judge, a painful journey to a hill, a nail, a spear, a cry, a veil torn in two, and our salvation. Because he chose not to be what we expect, but to be what he is called to be. The servant of each, the Savior of all. May you know the transforming power within you, the power to serve and to offer of yourself. May our Lenten journey together transfigure us all into the people that God sees us being, people of great love, people who serve. Thanks be to God.